Today we're going to talk about defining functions and plotting points. So this is your part 1 to introduction into functions. So let's just have a quick refresher on plotting points first. Remember, when we are plotting points, you have an x and a y. Remember, the x value is always first and then our y value. Now connect that to an actual grid. If we have our x and our y, okay, our x is side to side, our y is always up and down. Now, some of you guys are going to need to label your axes every single time. Remember, your x-axis is always side to side. Your y-axis will always be up and down. So label that, because that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make, is we get those confused, and it's silly mistakes. So if we label our x and y every time, that'll help us keep it straight. So let's practice plotting some points. So our first example, we're going to plot these points. Point A is going to be at 2, -6. B is going to be at -4, 1. C is going to be at -3, -5. And D is going to be at 6, 6. Okay? So let's go ahead and make a graph. Okay, I've got my up and down, I've got my side to side. Now what am I going to do first? I'm going to label. So side to side is always my x. Up and down is always my y. I like to number my graphs. If you're counting by ones, I don't really care if you number or not. If you count by something other than 1, you need to number so that we know exactly what you're counting by to make sure that you're graphing correctly. Okay, so just number a couple each direction. Remember, as we go right, we're going up with our x's. As we go left, we're going down with our x's, so those are the negatives. This point right here is called the origin. I'll label it up here for you so you can name that. That is the origin, which is at 0, 0. So that's where you start counting for everything. Your y's, as you go up, are going positive and getting higher. As you go down, they're negative and getting lower. So let's go ahead and put these points on the graph. Now remember, over here, if it helps you, x is first, y is second. So my x is 2, so I go over 1, 2, and then I go up, down, because it's negative, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's point A. We're not making a line, we're not making line segments. You go over your x's, up and down your y's, put your point. So let's do B. And here's my x, here's my y. So my x is -4, so where do I go? I go left, 1, 2, 3, 4. My y is 1, so I go up 1. There's my B. A lot of people will go back 4 and put a point, and then they'll go up 1 and put a point. It's not 2 different points, it's 1 point. My B is at -4, 1, okay? Let's do C. My x is at -3, my y is at -5. So I'm going to go back, -3, so 1, 2, 3, there's my x, and then I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my y. Label it C. If you want to put the coordinates, you can. Okay, let's do our last one, D. So I have x, y. My x is at +6, so now I'm going to go right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My y is at +6, so I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's your D. Okay, so there's your little refresher on plotting points. So the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to give you a graph, and then we're going to name the points. Okay, so your second example, I'm going to give you this graph. Go ahead and draw this down so you have it in your notes. Okay, we're counting by ones again. I'm just going to label a couple just so we know that. I'm going to label my x's. I'm going to label my y axes. Okay, we're going to put a point right here. We're going to call it A. We're going to put a point right here. Call it D. We're going to put a point right here and call it B. We're going to put a point right here and call it C. Okay, so we're going to name these points. We have A, B, C, and D. All right, so let's name the points. what do we have? A. Where is A? Remember, we're naming the points. We're giving the coordinates of the points. Anytime we have coordinates of a point, we have an X and a Y. X comes first, then Y. So for A, where is A? X's, we go side to side, so over 1, 2, so there's my X value. What's my Y? We went down 1, so negative 1. My B, where's B? B would be negative 1, 2, so we're here. Okay, so we go back 1, 2, so negative 2. And my X, we went up 1, 2, 3, so negative 2, 3. My C, what's my X value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my X. Now, did we go up and down at all? Nope. So we're at 0 for our Y. Now, I want you to try D on your own. All right, now that we've done that, let's talk about what a function actually is. So a function, okay? A function has only, one output, or Y, for every X, or input. Okay, what does that really mean? That means your X's can't repeat. And your inputs and outputs will make more sense as we kind of get into this a little bit more. Okay, so there's a couple ways that you can tell if something's a function. The first way is if we're given a graph. So I'm going to give you a couple graphs and we're going to practice what's called the vertical line test. Okay, remember a vertical line is a line that goes straight up and down, okay? So if we have these graphs, I'm going to try that again. I'm going to give you 3 graphs, and we're going to compare them. All right, so we have 3 graphs. Now, the first one's going to look like this. The second one is going to be a circle. The next one is going to be this lovely line. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more graph just to make a funky one, because I want you guys to be able to see multiple types of graphs. They don't all have to be lines. Okay, so here's 4 graphs. Now we're going to tell if each one's a function. So I know you can't see my hand, but what I want you to do is I want you to hold your hand so that it's along this red line, straight up and down. And we're going to move our hand side to side across the graph. It's called our vertical line test. If our hand is ever hitting more than one point at a time, then it's not a function. So for this graph, as we go across, my hand's not hitting more than one point at a time, so yes, this would be a function. The circle. Well, as I hold my hand straight up and down, and I move my hand across, oh no, I have 2 outputs here. I have 2 Y values. I have 2 Y values. I have 2 Y values, almost all the way across this one. So is it a function? No, because our X's would repeat. Here's my X value at -1. That means I have -1, 2, and I have -1, -3. I have 2 of the same X values with different outputs. Okay, so my X is repeated. The vertical line test failed, so it's not a function. Okay, next one, straight up and down, straight up and down. I'm only hitting 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. We're good. So yes, this would be a function. Last one. Okay, hands straight up and down. I'm going to go side to side from left to right. And, oh, when I hit right here, look at all these outputs all the way down here. Those are all different Y values for the same X value. So my vertical line test failed. So is this a function? No. Okay, so there's your vertical line test. Your other way, if you wanted, you could list a bunch of points. Or you might be given a list of points or a table or a map. So let's look at one like that. So let's see, that was number 3. I forgot to number, sorry about that. So this would be number 4. So number 4, I'm going to give you a list of points. We have 2, 6, 4, 5, -3, 8, 9, 10, and -5, 6. So we've got a bunch of points here. Now, you can either compare all of your X values to see if they repeat or not, Or you could make a table. Sometimes that's easier for people. So if I make a table, I'm going to list all my x's. I have 2, 4, -3, 9, -5, and then put your y values. So 2, 6, 4, 5, -3, 8, 9, 10, -5, 6. So then you can compare all of those x values. So do the x's repeat? Or you might see it with mapping. Mapping is when we list all of our x's in one bubble, all of our y's in the other bubble. Okay, so we have, normally they're from smallest to greatest, so I'll go ahead and do that. We have -5, -3, 2, 4, and 9. Okay, make sure you get all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. I got 5 x's down there. And then list your y's, smallest to greatest. I have 5, 6. I have 6 twice. I don't need to list it twice. So 5, 6, 8, and 10. And then we're going to connect them. So when my x is -5, what's my y? -5, my y would be 6. So I connect them. Okay? -3. When my x is -3, my y is 8. 2. When my x is 2, my y is 6. 4. When my x is 4, my y is 5. And when my x is 9, my y is 10. So with any of these, look at your list. 2, 4, -3, 9, -5. Do the x's repeat? No. So is it a function? Yes. Or look at your table. We have all the x's listed straight down. Do the x's repeat? No. So is it a function? Yes. With mapping, look at your x's. Is there ever 2 lines coming from the same x? No. So is it a function? Yes. Let's look at another one. So this will be number 5. Let's do 6, 7, -3, 4, 9, 8, and 6, 12. So I'm going to show you each of the methods again just so that we make sure that we've seen all of them, because you don't know which one you're going to be given. So if we have a table, remember your x's are listed first with a table. So here's my x's, here's my y's. So we have, you can either put them in order there or numerical order. So I have -3, 6, 6, 9. So -3 went with 4, 6 goes with 7, 6 goes with 12, 9 goes with 8. So I just listed each of my points. Well, so we're going to compare our domain or our inputs, our x values, or we can do a mapping. And sometimes you'll be given that mapping. So my x's go from smallest to biggest. I don't need to list repeats. My y's go from smallest to biggest, and then we connect them. So when x is -3, my y is 4. When x is 6, my y is 7. When x is 6, my y is 12. And when x is 9, my y is 8. Okay, so look at any of these, okay? Look at the first one. Compare the x's. Do the x's repeat? Yep. So is it a function? No, because our inputs cannot repeat. Our x's cannot repeat. We can't have more than one output for every input. Look at your table. Oh boy, I have x listed, 6 listed twice for x. So is it a function? No. Look at your mapping. Are 2 lines coming from any of the x values? Yep, right here at 6. So is it a function? No. All right, so I want you to try this one. I'm going to give you the points 7, 2, 11, -5, -7, 8, and 4, 6. I want you to tell if that's a function or not. Go ahead and pause and do that now. All right, so now you are done with the first part of notes. So we're going to practice that and then move on to part 2.